Positive energy all the time. Good to see you all. Rep your city, rep your city. Everybody on Twitch, I represent Chicago, Illinois. Everybody on Kick, YouTube, and Facebook, I am representing Chicago, Illinois. We have San Jose in the building. We got Texarkana in the building. We have Oakland in the house. We got Woodridge in the building. Come on in, represent your city. Represent your city. We got Rochester, New York in the house. We got Las Vegas in the building. We got Baltimore in the building. New York is in the building. Boston, Massachusetts is in the building. Come on in, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. For sure. Got Shreveport in the building doing big things down there with 50 Cent, building up the city. That's a beautiful thing. I can't wait to get down there and check that out. Oh, here we go. Another conversation about Africa. I've been talking about Africa too much, but we got some developments going on in Burkina. We're going to talk about that. Good to see you. Highly favored. Rep your city, everybody. Yeah, we're going to talk about what's going on in Burkina. Repats moving to Africa. I think if that's what you want to do, I think it's fine. It's not nothing I can realistically comprehend. When I was younger, probably. I was thinking about going to Africa. But I only had one child at that point. Mother had passed away. I didn't have custody. I got 6 children now. I got a bunch of grandchildren. So the idea of me leaving my family here is out of the question. It's not realistic for me. But to each his own. If you feel you need to move to Africa, then do what you got to do. Yeah, do what you got to do. My advice is to study Africa first. Take some trips. Just don't throw out no thousands and thousands of dollars to move. Take some trips. but know that a trip is not enough. There is no way you can know. The U.S. government has nothing to do with you sending your money to another country. That's on you. Especially if you're trying to leave. If you're in Ireland and you don't like Ireland, you're trying to leave Ireland and you send somebody to another country and they scam you think Ireland going to help you? Why would the U.S. help you in a situation where you was dumping on the U.S.? It was like the U.S. wasn't good enough. So they got no authority over that type of stuff right there. How you gonna want the government to help you when you was trying not to be a U.S. citizen anymore? You're on your own. But we're gonna talk about that. Maybe when you're younger, you might think like that. But it's not realistic if you're older and mature. Then there's different things. You know, there's different reasons. Yeah, we have a lot of foundational Black Americans live in small places or live in places where Black Americans don't have that much power. They study certain history that tells them that they're African Americans, which is fine because you do have some African blood. Some of us have African blood, some of us don't. That's a ridiculous argument to speak for everybody. So it's totally ridiculous to say we Native Americans. That gets ridiculous, right? Because you don't know who slept with who. So when you have people trying to speak on your bloodline, when different people slept with different people for hundreds of years, that gets a little foolish. Because now you're saying you know who had sex with who, which is, that's not scholarship. That's not scholarship. You can't just show no picture of no black Native Americans and say that's you. Could be, but it could just be a few people in your family. It's very easy for your family to have Africans, whites, Native Americans, all in your lineage. Is very, very possible. I don't know how you pick one, but if you say so. I stay away from foolish make believe conversations. But I can see how people might live in a small place. You're young. Even in a big place, I was trying to go to Africa. My goal was to go to Africa. So I left here. Yeah, yeah. He said I seen a family shedding tears because they lost most of their stuff, even sold home and took out 401k. Yep. It's a dream, and you take a trip to Africa, even to another city, another state. What's good, Global? Loopy G. I'm going to tell you the facts, though. Trips are fake. So when somebody takes a trip somewhere and come back and tell you, they don't know what they're talking about. Trips are fake. You could take a trip back and forth. You don't know nothing about that place. The the only way you know about any place you move to, you have to stay there and you have to be there 24 months. These are facts. You don't have to believe me. You have to be somewhere for 24 months before you know the place. 3 months, 2 months, back and forth. You don't know. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. You think you know something. These are facts. If you move from New York to Chicago or from Chicago to New York, you will not know anything about New York until you live there for 2 years. If you think you can move there 1 year and you know the place, you got to go get some more experience under your belt. Because you don't know nothing about no place until you stay there for 2 years. These are absolute facts. This ain't no make believe. It's not. You have to be somewhere 2 years to know anything. You would have to live in Ghana or Burkina for 24 months to know where you're at. I remember my brother JT, the bigger figure. I used to be talking about Africa, don't go this and that. And he went, everybody like, JT is over there. And I went and watched him over there. He back, ain't he? He back. He back, ain't he? And as he went back since he left, no. Was it cool when he got there? No. Remember, he was in Burkina and he left. And he went to Kenya and it still wasn't no better. He had to get the hell out of Africa. But when he first got over there, people was all over here in my comments. See, the brother went. And it's like, let me tell y'all something. Let me tell you something about age. The problem with y'all not understanding age is you think it's based on the numbers. So I'm 67. So you thinking, oh, just because you 67. No. 67 equals 67 years. 365 days, 67 times. And even if you're young, if you're 25, you've went through experiences. And so imagine going through some the experiences you went to if you're 25. Imagine what that's going to be like when you get 50. So if you meet me at 50, and you meet me at 67, you're not meeting the same persons because that 17 years added some more stuff. You can believe that. You can trust you know. So information that I would give you when I was 50 years old, that information will be updated and altered today. Some of it might be the same, but some of it's definitely going to expand and have a little more detail to it because experience is the best teacher. And so I have people ask me all the time when I moved to Africa. No, I can't move to Africa. I got too many grandchildren here. My sister's here. My children's here. Just ask me, stop asking me when I moved to Africa and ask me, will you leave your family? Because that's basically the question. Would you leave all your family and go to where you have no family? That's the question. No, I like to be here. So if my daughters need me, I'm there. My sons need me, I'm there. My grandchildren need me, I'm there. My cousin need me, I'm there. Like that. I'm here. It's going to take you some experience and knowledge to know that. Now, you might not care about your family at this particular time, but you will later. You'll get over your beef with your family. You'll get over it. And they'll get over it too. But we're going to talk about this situation. Yeah, I'm not leaving my family over here going to Africa. You know, Africa, I would never go to Africa to live. Mm-mm. In America, we got the right to bear arms. I ain't giving that up to go over there in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can scam me in Africa because I don't got the right to bear arms. I bet if I had the right to bear arms, I bet you wouldn't scam me in Africa. I bet you that. I bet you own that. I bet you on that if I came to Africa and we had the right to bear arms, I bet you wouldn't scam me then. I bet you wouldn't. But the scam is up. Scamming is big in Africa. Super big. Scamming is huge in the African countries, you know. And desperation leads to scamming. The key to scamming is desperation or trying to get something, you know. That's true here in Chicago. Like if you're trying to get something, a guy could tell you, hey man, look at all this money in this thing, put your money in there and hold it for me. You put your money in there, give it to you, get on this newspaper. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get something. And they scam you with your desperation to get something. That's how you always gonna get scammed. You're gonna always get scammed trying to get something. Hey, I'll be outside. You're gonna always get scammed because you trying to get something. That's when you wide open because you get so caught up into getting what you're trying to get that you be blind. You're like, yeah, I'm moving to Africa. You know what I'm saying? So they had this situation where they had, you know, Dr. Eric now. She had some type of organization where she would help you move to Burkina, But you had to pay money first to get an organization, right? So you had to pay a fee to get an organization. You know what I'm saying? And then that you become a member. So you pay a fee to be a member. And then you had to pay a fee to take the trip. And then you would take the trip, and then it would be like to show you how to get citizenship. So people paid both fees. But after they paid the fees, first the date got moved. And then it changed to, oh no, your second fee is not to come and get citizenship. It's to come to see if you can get residency, right? Now, I ain't, y'all, I'll be getting in trouble. They got to keep it $1 billion. Let me show y'all something. You see, in my world, there is there's certain things you have to be able to check off before I even consider you in any kind of way, positive. And I know some people going to be like, man, how you going to say that? But I'm just keeping it real with you. And so for me, when you start trying to talk to me about some type of positivity, some type of consciousness of some type, kind, I got standards that you got to fit before I can even begin to take you serious. So when you start talking to me about Black culture and stuff like that, first thing I got to see natural hair. When I see haircuts, when I see perms, I ain't trying to listen to you. It ain't like I look down on you. You don't eat right. If you ain't plant-based, you ain't got your natural hair, and you ain't got no natural name. You don't, if you still got a slave name, I can't listen to you. So when I see this sister talking all this African stuff with this hair and this makeup like this and the eyelashes drawn on her face, I never was feeling her. She was always, to me, she wasn't thorough. I ain't gonna say she no fraud, because I ain't trying to disrespect the queen like that. I'm just saying, when I seen her talking all that African stuff, I wasn't feeling it. Because you can't tell me to break away from the Europeans and you emulating the Europeans. This is the whole face and hair is a European mental slavery. It's all mental slavery. Like, she represents mental slavery. Nothing about her represents Africa. You see what I'm saying? Look, she got her eyebrows drew on. Look at her hair. She's ashamed of her hair. So when she started to come up with this idea to raise this money and stuff, she came like this. See the change up? Cover the hair up. Put the African hat on, Put the African hat on, right? You really got to sell. You still got the Lucy, I love Lucy lipstick. You got the Barbie fingernails and you done drew your eyelashes off. But you claim you keeping it real. But nah, you know what I'm saying? Nah, so I can see right, you know what I'm saying? So that's why people be saying I'm disrespectful and stuff. Because she couldn't really tell me nothing. I wouldn't want to disrespect her, but I just let her know she can't tell me nothing. She not African. There ain't nothing African about you. You European. This ain't African. Since when is this African? This don't look African to me. So you want our women to come all the way to Africa and get a pair? And cut their eyebrows off and draw some back on? Like who told you to cut your eyebrows off and draw some back on? Where'd you get that from? That's not African. You understand? When you talk about Nati Bongo, you talking about African, and you talk about natural Native American, you talking this right here. No scissors, no comb. You know what I'm saying? No religious connotation. This is before religion. This is from beginning. Before you could make up a name of a god. You had your natural. And this how you would be in nature to protect yourself. See, I could throw that hair down my back and stop me from getting cold. This is a part of survival when you live in the tropics, which is where we would have been. We would be just like the gorillas and lions and tigers in our natural state. Now, of course, we feel sophisticated. We learned how to get fire and we learned how to make clothes. But we was never supposed to manipulate ourselves to try to look like others. But anytime you see manipulation, you know that's not the beginning. You know that's somewhere in the middle of the story, which is cool if you're in the middle of the story, but don't act like you represent the beginning. To represent the beginning, you need to look like the beginning. You got to go back to the Stone Age. You understand? Now, this ain't the Stone Age. This the Metal Age. Because you got to have metal to cut your hair off and to cut your eyebrows off and all that. So for her to be talking about this, come back to Africa, come to Africa, and took all them people money, now they can't get their money back. You know, it is what it is. So they changed citizenship into residency. Now, see, you're supposed to study. Now, if you're young, I understand. Right? When I left here, moved to California, while on my way to Africa, I did all the studying I could do, but I couldn't do the studying y'all could do because the studying, y'all got social media, y'all got the internet, and all the information has been loaded up on the internet. It's basically any encyclopedia you want to read or anything you want to learn is on social media. Any kind of lecture you want to see is on social media. So you have way more knowledge available, but you got to use it. So now when you're talking about going to buy land in Africa, right there you ain't studying, because in Africa, the teaching is you cannot own land in Africa. All land in Africa is tribal and controlled by the kings and the chiefs. The people there, they can get the land for 100 years, and when that 100 years up, that family could be giving it for another 100 years. But you can't own land in Africa. That's a European concept, to own land. That's the first thing. But even the leasing of land depends on which country you go to. You can't own no land. Now, you could get scammed in Africa. Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a country. And I own some land. But there's an uprising in the country, and this group of tribe and these people, they take over the country. Me and my family flee, and we leave my land. Now it's a new person that runs that country. You come over, they lease you some land for $150,000 to start a business. But then there's another coup and another uprising, and that president or leader of the country get overthrown by somebody from my side, right? The original ones that was there. So I come back. I come to my land, you own the land. Now, the people that sold you that land, they stole it from me. Yes, at the time you went, they had the land, but it was never theirs. So me and my family come back and our tribe, and we tell you, you got to go. This ain't, you say you bought it from Mubingi. I said, this is not Mubingi land. This is my great-grandfather's land. This land go back this far. You got to go. It was some brothers in South Africa, some Rastas, and they built a nice little compound, stores, and they had a radio station and a recording studio. Because anybody know, it's like, I think 1 million Rastas in South Africa. It's a lot of Rastas in South Africa, but they ain't Rastas like, they all kind of different Rastas where they made up stuff, right? So it's not like, like how in Jamaica you got 12 tribes, you got Nyabingi, you got Bobo Shanti. Well, in Africa, you got some other types of Rastas in South Africa. So just because they Rasta don't mean you could go there and say, oh, Rasta, because they got some new African type Rasta. But anyway, these brethren had a big investment there, had a nice radio station and studio. One day, there's a bam on the door. They go to the door. It's a bunch of Maasai. The Maasai warriors tell them, y'all got to leave. This is Maasai land. All this land is Maasai. Them brethren had to leave everything there and had to leave because they didn't understand that Africa is tribal. Whoever told them they could stay there didn't tell them that's not their land until you say that's Maasai land. And if it's Maasai land, they could trace it back as far as they could trace the Maasai. The person that put you there, you can't trace him back that far. And them brethren had to leave all their stuff there. Radio station, everything. They had to leave then. It wasn't like, take it. No, you got to leave now. And I ain't talking about a few Maasai. I'm talking about Maasai, dude. Say when they open that door, they sing Maasai. You know what I'm saying? Hundreds of them. And they wasn't smiling. The Maasai wasn't smiling. They was like, this is Maasai land. So they had to leave all them build, all that stuff, they had to leave it. They was able to grab some equipment and some records and leave. They never got that back. And if you know anything about Northeast Africa, Kenya, Maasai and Rastas was beefing down at the beach over there. I don't know if they still are, but they were. Yeah, they was beefing. Cause there ain't no Rasta tribe. Who is y'all? Ain't no tribe in Africa called Rasta. You know what I'm saying? Now you can call yourself a Rasta and you can deal with Rasta ideology, but that's a new ideology. That ain't no ancient ideology. That's an ideology based on Marcus Garvey and Haile Selassie. So they was beefing. Yeah, you see all of that. And so when they talk about selling you land, that's ridiculous right there. So people put their money in and lost all their land. Now they saying, a lot of people said she a scammer, she a scammer, she a scammer. Her reputation is tanking a little bit. Her organization is, they looking at them sideways. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Her organization is under all type of scrutiny. The ADDI, you know what I'm saying? This organization, African Diaspora Development Institute. And what a lot of brothers are saying is they just stacking your bread. A lot of brothers and sisters saying they over in Africa scamming and taking your money to get rich. Scamming you with your desperation. See how her hair is now? See, she got that thing on her head? Scamming. Look at Damian Cook. What's the deal with him? Look at your Royal Highness King Garola Bosa. Now, with all due respect, I wouldn't trust him further than I could say. I ain't gonna hold you. He just too clean cut of an African. He like African American African. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, bro, what kind of, you know what I'm saying? He need to put he got the chair, and the beard a little bit and a couple of bracelets on, got on the little African clothes, but he's stacking dollars. They stacking money. You know what I'm saying? ADDI mission to mobilize the African diaspora to participate in the development of Africa. To participate. Participate how? That's the ADDI mission. With your money. With your money. The African Diaspora Development Institute is the bridge between the African diaspora and Africa. Yes, the bridge to your money. All people of African descent living outside of Africa are the African diaspora. And they need your money. Join the movement. And look how African they look. They look like Babylon to me. Babylonian them. Look, these are Africans. Look at Damien. He can't even hide. You definitely don't want him. You don't want to give him your money. He looked like a gangster. He been frowning and been so mean he couldn't even look at his picture. Damien Cook. Look at his picture. At least the other ones could smile. He the vice president. He the second in charge. And she in charge. Which looking at this picture, he in charge and she the second in charge. Well, she got the voice, so they got her out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she just the face of it. Yeah. Yeah, she the face of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, come on, man, let's keep it a billion. Like, I've been told y'all, dude in Burkina, I've been told y'all, to me, I don't believe none of the hype. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe none of the hype. They're trying to paint him like Jesus Christ. I don't believe it. There's no way that Burkina is able to deal with these European nations. There ain't no way. You see the picture with Putin right there. Ain't no way. And I've been saying that this man ain't going to be around that long. There's no way I would move there under his leadership. That's why this early, when he got in from a coup and he ran out the French. You know what I'm saying? So come on, let's look at it like this. Let's say right here, this is an area. And I'm here and I'm a Crip. And everybody here in this area right here, y'all look at me as Crips. But 2 years ago, this was the Bloods area. And we went to war with the Bloods and we chased them out. Now, in 2 years, would you think it would be safe to come here and you wouldn't think the Bloods was going to retaliate? So you're telling me that he can chase out the French and everything is all right? When you got the dude up in France saying, hey, we need to go back to what we was on when we took Africa the first time, and where the French is trying to throw that leader out because they say he's too soft. Macron, hold on. Listen, man. Y'all just tell me if I'm tripping. I'm cool if you think I'm tripping. This the French president. This the man is there when Ibrahim took over and chased out the French. You telling me they're not going to throw him out of office and put somebody else in there? And when they put a new prime minister or president over France, y'all telling me he not going to attack Burkina? The new president of France That's going to he going to have to promise to do that to get in there. Because the French is broke now. Europe made all their money from stealing from Africa. So they either get back in Africa or they starve. They going to look at him as weak for letting Abraham run him out. They're talking now, this man is finna be out of office. When this man is out of office, it's going to be mad war in Burkina. Why would you move there now in the middle when there's smoke there? So that's why the brother, he came out and said, no, don't come here. I gotta give the brother props. He came the other day and said, don't come here. Don't come here. I gotta give him props. He said, no, we're not doing no citizenship here. Why? This man had like 16 attempts on his life recently. What, over the last year and a half, 2 years? 16 attempts on his life. This man ain't asked for you to come there in no war zone. Burkina is a war zone. So when you see black men cheering for this dude and cheering for us to go there, that show you that a lot of the black men in America, especially on this social media, they ain't got no military mind state. The main thing holding the black man down worldwide is he don't have no military mind state. Brothers want to go to Africa on some, go home to Africa and buy a house and live in Africa. They're not thinking militarily. They're not thinking military. But anybody from Africa, if they watch this, they'll tell you Pharaoh ain't lying. That whole area is hot. It's hot. Why would you move in that area? It's hot. It's hotter than a firecracker. Anybody from Nigeria will tell you it's hot. Nigeria not sweet right now. They got an area called the Sahel. And the Sahel is right here. Right across here. And it's like an area where it's like desert and forest. So it's like a forest dividing the desert. You know how up north is desert? You know, Nigeria and Libya and stuff, you know, it's a bunch of sand and like desert, Egypt. Well, right under there, there's a spot where there's like a forest. Okay? There's a spot where there's a forest. And in that spot where there's that forest, this is where the troops be from these Islamic terrorist type groups. Right? That's the Sahel, this orange part, right? So these terrorist groups come from the north, and then this is where they stage their war, right here on this orange part where the trees is at. They've been attacking northern Nigeria constantly. Burkina, constantly. These are facts. And a lot of their electrical systems and stuff go up there. So them terrorists up there, They'll cut the power lines. And then when one of the countries, Nigeria, whoever, sends somebody up there to get the power back on, they'll ambush them. What, last year, the year before, they ambushed the president of Nigeria. Like, it's real war. Like, they be grabbing children. Like, grab 250, they be raiding schools and grabbing children. Like, Nigeria's a war zone up there. Like, for real, it's not Sweden, Nigeria up there. Them brothers up there at war. And then Nigeria's infiltrated because you got the Muslim Nigerians and they siding with the jihadists. So that's why you always hear about the jihadists attacking the Christian farmers in Nigeria. See, you got to study. Look. So you got to study. You can't just be, I want to go back to Africa. You got to know where you're going back to. You in the way, really. Look, United Nations Trust Fund. The struggle between herders and farmers in Nigeria over farmland and pastures is a serious and escalating conflict, registering huge casualties and raising tensions, particularly in the country's middle belt. Drought and desertification, where it's turning a desert, in the north have forced pastoralist herdsmen to seek grazing lands further south, resulting in competition over resources and clashes with settled farmers. Moreover, they result in significant loss of lives and livelihoods, undermine food security, permit the proliferation of small arms, displace large numbers of people, and divert resources meant for development. Vulnerable groups such as women, children, and youth, IDPs, and indigenous people are particularly impacted. Look, it's crazy, okay? Now, what does that got to do? Hold on. What has that got to do with him? They are saying it's a high possibility that the French are supplying weapons to the jihadists. That a lot of them jihadists ain't really jihadists. They mercenaries. Because they saying where they getting all them weapons from. So they saying that this man here is spending money to try to destabilize Nigeria, Ghana, Burkina, and other places. But he not doing a good enough job because they still ain't in there. If you know anything, what does that mean? That mean if he can't do the job, they getting him out of there. And they going to put somebody in there that's going to go do the job. And so the very idea that you will move people into Burkina is crazy. It's total disrespect. Why would you move people into harm's way? This place ain't been independent that long where you could say Burkina is really that. The Black Americans in the diaspora that go there can't talk because everybody in Burkina speak French. Okay, if they speak French, what they tell you? Who ran the place? So a lot of foundational Black Americans go over there, can't even communicate because they don't know how to speak French. So when you talk about black and you talk about going to Africa, you talk about being in a black land, how you in a black land that speak French? So let me get this straight. You want to leave America because this ain't black enough because we speak English, and you want to go to Africa and speak French? Which one is the worst? The United States under rule of whites that speak English, or a country in Africa that speak French that's under the rule of the French? What's more dangerous, in the United States, where everybody got to work jobs and all of that, or being in Africa sitting on top of natural resources with no military to defend yourself? You know how much natural resources is in Mali, Burkina, Senegal, Nigeria, Mauritania, Nigeria, Cameroon? You got any idea? Ghana? They ain't even touched the surface of how much wealth is in them places. How you safe sitting on that? Would you go if there was a car outside in front of your house that had $20 million in it, and everybody knows $20 million in that car? Would you go sleep in that car? And China trying to get that, but they not going. Europe ain't going to let China. They going to be fighting. So if China trying to get in, Europe trying to get in, Russia trying to get in, America trying to get in, that means war. And that means you're going to have to be one of the puppets for one of those armies. This is just a fact. Why would you move there? So that's how you know they ain't had no plan to move there. The whole thing was a scam. It was a scam. They know that Black Americans can't survive in no West Africa. They're not crazy. They're not crazy. They know these men is ready for war. Why would they move you in a war zone? What you think this picture was for? This picture was put together to show that they was united and ready for war. Why would somebody invite you to move into a war zone? Make this make some sense. Africa is a war zone. How many years I've been telling y'all that? Africa's got all the natural resources, and the major power player countries in the world need those natural resources. Anywhere you move in Africa, you in danger. You sitting on gold and diamonds. You're not going to be safe. Africa is the most dangerous landmass on this planet. Africa is like a bank full of money. You can't just go sit on top of natural resources. You have to be willing to defend them. People going to move there, G-Rock. They're going to move there, but they don't know where they're moving to. A Pan-African brother got mad at me because he said, brother, we need to go back to Africa. And I said, I'm trying to help blacks get out of Africa. And he got mad. Because everybody know if I had billions of dollars, I already told you, I'd adopt a black boy from every country in Africa and bring them out of there and have them over here. Because as far as I'm concerned, don't nothing need to be in Africa but soldiers. And you got Hebrew Israelites over there, but the Bible surely show you Armageddon is right there where the Tigers and the Euphrates and stuff meet. that according to the Bible, the Chinese are going to march down the Euphrates for Armageddon. And coincidentally, the Euphrates is dried up where they can actually march down it now. All the holy scriptures and stuff show that Africa is going to be where Armageddon going to take place. Period. Africa has the youngest population in the world. A whole bunch of young men, 15 years old in Africa. No, people don't know that. So just the idea that they were selling people the idea to move to Burkina, a place that just got taken, that's in a war zone. Like Burkina is a war zone. All three of these countries is a war zone. Why you think they dress like that? Look at them. Do they look like they dress to have a picnic? These are soldiers. They trying to unify West Africa to prepare to go. So these people that got scammed out their money because what they doing over there is that's the big hustle now. They following Ghana. See, Ghana pulled it first. Ghana had the year to return. And with the year of return, he made millions, right? Not only did he make millions with the people moving there, but what happened is when he announced the year to return, a lot of people took trips there to see. So he made millions on people actually moving there, and he made hundreds of millions on tourism of people flying there to see. It was all a scam. And then once he made that money, then he said the return, then he had the year to return part 2. You know what I'm saying? He had the year to return part 2. And it was all just to make money. Then recently he had the citizenship. You come and get your citizenship. Come and get your citizenship. Ghana. Ghana, the president of Ghana invited us somewhere where they hate him. Now imagine him invite me to Ghana, and this is the Ghanaian people. This is what they think about him. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. He invites you to go there. You understand? But they don't want him in, they don't want him running the country. So if the people of Ghana not happy and he invites me to Ghana, when the people get him out of office, they're going to look at me as part of the problem because I came with him. So now you're going to have this backlash of people want you out because they're going to look at it as you came at a time when they wasn't doing good. You came when their gas prices were too high. You came when their food prices was too high. They're going to want you out of there Because if they don't like the person that invited you, they're not going to like you. This happened in South Africa. In South Africa, they had them Ghanaians and Nigerians come to South Africa. And you end up having xenophobia. Because they didn't like the fact that people was coming down there eating off of them. These things create xenophobia. Because you can't invite some people somewhere where the people there are not doing well. That's what's going on right here in America with the Venezuelans. People like, get them out of here. We ain't even doing well. So that's what's going on with that whole thing. That whole situation is a big mess. And they saying this lady that ran off with their money. Nobody got their money back. And they saying these people then collected thousands. They saying they done collected thousands. That's what people saying. And now they can't find nobody. And they done lost their money messing with this African Diaspora Development Institute. And you can go on YouTube and there's a bunch of people talking about it. The African Diaspora Development Institute. And I think the sister made some type of statement or whatever, but nobody getting their money back. She told them to come there for citizenship. And once so many of them donated their money, she changed it from citizenship to an opportunity for residency. So now you paid for membership, then you pay to go there. So you make two big payments to her and her organization, telling you you're going to be able to come and get citizenship. Once everybody made the payment, now you can't hear from them, and they change and say, no, it's not going to be to get citizenship. It's going to be for a chance for you to live here. And people saying, no, we pay for citizenship. It's a big mess on the internet. Africa is fighting to be natural, fighting to be organic, fighting to be whole foods and fruits and vegetables, nuts and grains, to be a natural place, natural air, natural living, sources of energy that fits in with the ecology, a way of living that makes you be able to live with the giraffes and the wildebeests and the lions and the tiger. Not no stuff that's going to destroy the animals, destroy the wildebeests, destroy the zebras, destroy the lions and tigers. You got it. Well, there ain't no tigers there, I don't think. But we supposed to be trying to develop Africa to make the ecosystem work for Africa. We're not supposed to be going over there, cutting down all the trees and doing everything, making more storms that we got now. The reason we're going to be in a hellhole the next 2 years with all these hurricanes and floods. I know y'all see the weather. I know y'all see the weather. I know you see where you live at, flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, storms, 80 degrees when it's supposed to be 60 and 40, it's 80 degrees. You see it. It's raining constantly. How many days have been raining in Florida over the last month? Everybody act like they don't see all that that rain ain't normal. Every time you look up storms, crazy floods everywhere, all over the world. They won't even show them to you. They won't even show you the natural disasters. I was posting all natural disasters on my Instagram. They started blocking them because I was showing all in Indonesia and everywhere. You would not believe how many natural disasters happen around the world this week. Bad ones. You'll never see them. In some of these countries by Tibet and all over Africa and in these places in China and everywhere, Europe, they ain't showing you, man, people getting washed out, roads collapsing, buildings falling in, sinkholes, whole buildings falling in sinkholes. They're not showing you none of that. So trying to go to Africa with a Babylon mentality is the wrong process anyway. Let me tell y'all something. If you don't have your eco plan together and you bring a bunch of blacks to Africa, they're going to build the wrong construction. And you know what's going to happen? The environment going to destroy all that stuff because that stuff got to be ecologically built. You can't go to Africa and build England and build Chicago and build these cities that's going to fall. Because this stuff off in the fall. So the last thing you want to do is go to Africa and follow these models over here that's built totally wrong. All this stuff in the fall. So Africa needs to become more ecological and more natural, not emulating Babylon. Where them people money? Because them people want their money back. And they saying now that they sent her all this money, they're not getting no response. That's what they saying. They saying they sent her the money and they not getting no response. You understand? They sent their money to this organization. You might as well stay in America and deal with this. This is the same thing we're dealing with here. Negroes, in a way, these ain't nothing but the African Jesse Jacksons. That's what this is. This is the African Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. Y'all know I ain't lying. Okay? That's why don't nobody like certain black Americans, because we seen this movie already. We seen this movie. I seen that movie. Africa Behind. They running the same play on them that they ran on us in the 60s. Am I lying? That don't look like the same play they ran on us? Same play. Look. Watch this. Look, he done ran over there. Look, hold on. What Andrew Jackson did for us? What have Andrew Jackson did for foundational black Americans over here? Now he's the ambassador for some African stuff. What have Andrew Jackson done for black Americans? I know a scam when I see one. This is a scam. This is a scam. That's what this is. Africa is calling her children home. This, look. They used to pimp us with Christianity, right? They was pimping us with Christianity. Then the Black Power movement came in. They tried to figure out how could we pimp them with that. So as time went, they took the black consciousness, right, and they split it up. And they said, okay, we can't get them with Christianity no more. So they start pushing Hebrew Israelite, right? They start pushing Islam. They start pushing the Nation of Islam hard. They start pushing Hebrew Israelites, right? Then they start pushing Pan-Africanism, but they wasn't pushing it like we was pushing it with Winnie Mandela and Free South Africa. They buried Winnie after she stood with Nelson for 27 years, got out. He dumped her. Then they made Nelson the man, and Nelson started saying, we all got to live together. They sold South Africa out. Then they started pushing a watered down Pan-Africanism, right? They started pushing a watered down Pan-Africanism. Reggae was popular, so they shut that down. They started pushing dancehall. They started pushing Yellow Man and pinchers and pliers, infiltrate the music so the message wouldn't be out there. They got rid of the pro-black rappers. Didn't stick together. They was fraudulent. So they was talking all that pro-blackness, but they didn't work together. So they was telling us to work together. But you ain't never seen no tour with Public Enemy, X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teacher, KRS-One. They never went on the tour. So imagine some brothers telling us to unify, but they never unified, right? I'm showing you how they start doing it. So they start beating Rasta down. They start pushing these religions. And then they start pushing black politics. They start making the politicians the new savior. Like, okay, these are politicians, push the politicians, push the politicians. And they took that plan. They start pushing these Jesse Jacksons, Al Shaw. They start pushing this stuff more and more and more to compete with real consciousness. The whole time they was fighting against black consciousness. So they want to push Negro consciousness. In other words, you don't gotta be looking like you black conscious. You could be a Negro and talk it. But you see, it didn't make no sense to really spend a lot of energy in America because America didn't have the natural resources. So they say, listen, the money's in Africa, the diamonds is in Africa, the chocolate is in Africa, the cobalt is in Africa, the uranium, the platinum, all that's in Africa. We got to go over there and get it done. Now, when they invaded Africa, they had the Berlin Conference and they came all the way around. So when they invaded Africa, they had the Africans. This one speak French. This one speak Portuguese. This one speak English. They make sure each African speak different. Plus, they chased them apart. So now they got all these different tribes, and they all speak a European language, so they don't get along. Now they're going in to manipulate to take the natural resources. They can't have Black Americans go back with no knowledge, so they got to make sure to brainwash the Black Americans so that when you go over there, you just a sucker. So they start selling you fake kente cloths and all that. That's when we start getting to the 2000s. They start selling you kente cloth and stuff that's made in Europe. That ain't real kente cloth. It's only maybe 2 or 3 tribes in Africa that still make their cloth. All them other African prints is made in Asia and Europe. None of that shit is African. All them African prints, none of them is African. These are facts. They all them prints is made in Europe. They been took that stuff from them tribes. It's only like maybe 3 groups still make their stuff. The rest of all them head wraps and stuff is all fake. All them African dashikis, all that's fake. All that's fraudulent. So they feel like if they could put a brother on a dashiki, put you on some type of African clothes, that's the new preachers. Okay? That's what's going to replace Christianity. They say, oh, they want to go black. So now they got to take the same fake stuff they was doing in the church and put it into the blackness. So they go take a lady like this She the black spokesman now. Tell her, oh, no, you're doing a good job, but you need to look blacker. Cause there ain't no need to put this thing on your head when you start this new thing. Why you ain't just started and stay like this? This you gotta be able to see. Well, you can't sell no super African stuff looking like this. So you come like this. You gotta be more African-y. She gotta look more African. Go look up the pictures on Google. I did my research, do yours. But the whole time they telling you to come here, they trying to overthrow Ibrahim. They want to overthrow him. And these people know this. And some of these people might even be working with the European powers that be to overthrow the brother. Because why would you invite our people into a hellhole? Why would you invite the diaspora to Burkina that's in the middle of a war? Why would you invite foundational Black Americans and Blacks around the world to go to a place where the leader then had 16 assassination attempts on his life recently? You know why? You know what's going to happen to you if you get stuck over there in Africa? When the wrong war break out, you're going to be out of here. You'll never make it back. If you think you're safe in Africa, you're a fool. We far safer in America than we would be ever in Africa, because there ain't no natural resources here to destroy the land. But Africa is the richest continent in the world. So Africa is the number one target in the world. This is why everybody likes saying, y'all seen them saying, they bringing Africans over here to replace us. No, they not. They're bringing Africans everywhere to get them out of Africa so they can take Africa. So they're going to have the Africans come this way and they're going to go that way. They're bringing all the South Americans out of South America up this way, and they're going to do what? I've been telling y'all. They're going to bring them people up this way, and they're going to go down there. They're going to take Venezuela. They're going to take all of that. Mexico, Nicaragua, all that. When them people do finally get back, the United States military will be down there. These are facts. And if they do trick you to go to Africa, it's going to be the worst move you ever made. You show me a black man want to move to Africa, I show you a punk. He want to walk around and be African in war times. That ain't no soldier. And that's why you see brothers when they go to Africa, all they do be doing is walk around modeling. That's it. And then here's the game they trying to run. The plot is to get me over there to exploit the Africans, to turn me to an exploiter. I got a friend that kept telling me, you should come to Africa, you should come to Africa, you should come to Africa, you should come to Africa. Cool. Then my friend started saying, you know, if you come over here, you know, they can make your clothes for you, they can make this and that. It's like all you gotta do is just, you know, buy them some lunch. I'm hearing this, but I'm like, whoa. Basically, I was being told, you can exploit these Africans. You can come over here and they're going to make your clothes dirt cheap. And you can take them over there and sell them for a lot of money. That's what I was hearing. Now, the Africans know this. The Africans know that you coming over there trying to get cheap labor from them. They know that. So now they're not going to like you. Because it ain't no black Americans going over there to be no brothers and sisters. They going over there to exploit the Africans. You look at all the content creators that move to Africa say they love Africa. If they love Africa, why they got to make their money from Google? Yeah, you love Africa because you in Africa, but you on Google just like me on YouTube, and you get these big American checks in Africa, which is making you super rich. So the content creators in Africa is exploiting Africa because they content creators making money off the US and living somewhere that costs way less. So yeah, they're going to get on these YouTubes and tell you Africa this and that and that. They wouldn't tell me that because I say, yeah, you're going to say Africa's great because you over there pimping Africa. If you leave America, why you didn't leave YouTube? So don't tell me you left no America. You took YouTube with you. You still work for America. You went over there and you using YouTube to pimp Africa, to talk about Africa, but you getting American money, American wages. You're making more money than the Africans you over there talking about. And you bought and paid for by Google. Ain't nothing African about you. So yeah, I could go to Africa right now, and if I'm over there doing this, I'm gonna live better than the Africans. Now, how pro-black am I when I want to go somewhere and live better than my brothers and my sisters? And this is what blacks from Europe, blacks from the Caribbean, and blacks from the United States is doing. They going to Africa to live better than their brothers and sisters in Africa. That's why they going. They ain't going over there to help them brothers and sisters. They going over there to live better than them. That's a fact. And it's all kind of people pimping Africa, but ain't doing nothing for the people. And that's a fact. And one thing about me, I'm with all the smoke. I ain't really nobody to play with. I'd really be standing on this. This ain't nothing but a pimp gang. The whole back to Africa is to go pimp your brothers and your sisters. You is not going to Africa to help our brothers and sisters in Africa. All these people that's going to Africa is only for their own self to exploit Africa. You don't hear no work of nothing being done for black Africans by the diaspora when they get over there. Show me anything where the diaspora is helping black Africans when they get over there. Show me. No, they over there to help themselves. G-Rod, no, I ain't lying. G-Rod, is black Americans doing anything to help Nigeria? No. Is black Americans doing anything to help Ghana? No. Burkina? No. Kenya? No. The Gambia? No. No. South Africa? No. Neither is black Caribbeans, neither is blacks from Britain. They all going there to pimp the Africans. That's a fact. And if you went over there to help the Africans, you'd be unalived in a few months. That's a fact. So now I can't go to Africa because I'll go over there trying to help. I wouldn't last 2 days. I can't go to Africa. I talk too much. I'm too radical. They'll be like, he coming over here helping these Africans? I'll be out of there. They over there definitely exploiting them women and them men, for sure. 90% of the diaspora to go to Africa is going over there to sleep with people. Facts. Talking about how big the girls is behind and all that and what's going on. I know more than, listen, it's a lot. Yes. Even people that like children is going over there. And then you got the Africans pimping too, because the Africans is writing all black African men, writing all these love letters to these lonely women and get them over there and put a baby in them and take her money. and then go back with his wife. It's all, you know how many black women going over there thinking they're in love with an African man, and all he trying to do is get some, and white women. Do you know how many white women leave Europe to go down to Africa to be with black men? That's a big racket. I got at least 4 friends up here that Africans didn't con. Came over here, told her he love her, marry her. Soon as he get his citizenship, he go get his other wife, bring her back. Use these sisters over here. I know at least 4 women here that been pimped by Africa. So both sides is pimping each other. There ain't nothing positive coming out of it, and ain't neither side got no military to defend themselves. So when you start talking about the development of Africa with no self-defense, I already know you're just talking. These people can't do nothing for Africa because they ain't on no self-defense. And the only ones that's on self-defense is these brothers like this on self-defense. Ain't nobody talking about going over there and joining and fighting with them. I remember when Ethiopia was invaded by Italy up in New York, they were sending me in the fight. What happened to that, black man? Black man was in New York, said, send me to Ethiopia. What you know about the Black Eagle? He was the black pilot from a black American pilot, the FBA pilot that went over there and flew the plane for Haile Selassie. You don't see no black men talking about going over there to defend Africa. They going over there talking about trying to make some money and sleep with them women. They ain't trying to help Africa. It's not enough to just run from America and run somewhere. They got their own problems over there. They don't need your ass running over there. I'm speaking for the brothers and sisters in Africa. They don't want you or need you over there. If you ain't coming to fight with them and to stand with them and to build with them, you don't need to come. And if you ain't coming for that, they're going to con you. Yes, the Africans are going to con you because they know you coming to con them. You always hear the Africans conning. That's because they know you ain't coming there with no love. They know that. So they ain't got no love for you. They going to con you back. They going to con you first. These is facts. This is why when you go there, all they do is ask you for money, because they didn't peep gang you coming over there trying to exploit. The Africans know that you coming over there to exploit them. They ain't stupid. That's why the Africans, so many be conning black Americans and the diaspora when you come over there. Because they know you ain't coming over there to help. So they got to get how they live. And I support them 100%. Take everything they got because they ain't coming to help you. Listen, brothers in Africa, sisters in Africa, when these people come over there, take everything they got because they ain't coming to help you. They only think about themselves. Make them pay. If big pharaohs over there, we'll be making them pay. Y'all ain't doing nothing wrong. Make them pay. They come over there, make them pay. Make them pay every step. You got money. That's what y'all supposed to do. Make them pay. I'm the realest alive. I ain't one-sided. I'm real all the way across the board. That's why people don't like me. Everybody like me when I'm real, talk about this, but don't nobody like me when I'm real, talking about that. Y'all ain't noticed that? They only like me when I'm real, talk about something they agree with. When I'm real on the other side, now it's like, Y'all know I ain't lying. No, Africans gonna take everything you got because you ain't coming to help, so they got to get it how they live. If you was coming over there to help, they wouldn't take nothing. They wouldn't have to take nothing because they would come up. No, you think you could come over there and live good and don't help them. No, it don't work like that. They not going to let you come over there and build all these houses, build all this stuff and live all great and keep all the money to yourself. No. They're not going to do that. You're going to have to come over there with some brother and sisterly love. You want them to show you the way. You want them to help you, but you don't want to pay them. You don't want to put no money back in their pocket. You ain't trying to put them on. So you just going to Africa for nothing. If you go over there and you build a whole community of a diaspora, they ain't gonna do nothing but burn it down. That's all. It's gonna get burnt to the ground. Because you're gonna be taking, and not giving. And you ain't gonna be standing on no business. Because you're supposed to be over there and you're supposed to be on them Indians next and them Chinese next, them Asians next. They're selling all them motorcycles and all them air conditioners and all them generators. That's who over there is really doing the exploiting. Them Pakistanis and all them. Go over there. Go over there and get your land, get your citizenship. Then go buy your generator from house. I bet you're gonna buy it from some Pakistanis and some Indians and some Asians. You don't see them Africans riding their motorcycles? Them is Asian motorcycles. Where they get their motorcycles from? Where they get their motorcycles from? That them Africans be over there. I got friends over there, and they will tell you that if you go to Africa, you got to buy everything from these Asians. They got more power in the government than you do. You see, you got the rappers with them from Chicago, trying to get some more tourists to come over there. You go over there. You'll see who got the power. Go over there. Go over there and go buy your stuff you need for your home. I bet you won't be buying it from no Africans. You're going to be buying it from these people. This is Ghana right here. And what's that flag? That's the Indian flag. And look how they live it and look at their neighborhood. That's who you're going to buy from. That's a fact. If you go to Africa. The Africans don't run Africa. Until you know that, until you know who really run it, he run it. They don't run nothing. They made that man a chief. If you go over there and he don't like you, you out of there. That's in Ghana. These is facts. These are absolute facts. This who run it over there. This who you're going to have to buy all your stuff from. Yeah. This who run it. Go over there. I know, man. Listen, man. I know people over there right now. And when you go over there, you're going to have to buy all your stuff from Middle Easterners and Asians. The Africans don't have nothing, don't run nothing, and ain't selling nothing. That's an absolute fact, y'all. The Africans don't run nothing in Africa. The Europeans and Asians and Middle Easterners control Africa. And when you go to Africa and you want to buy stuff, that's who you're going to have to buy it from. And that's a fact. You're going to have to buy your stuff from them. And when the riots and stuff break out, them people be shooting at the Africans. Ask somebody to keep the Africans out of their area. That's Africa. Let me show you something. And then I'm gonna let this go once I show you this. Because I could go on and on. I don't want to make y'all head pop off. They built a train, right? They built a tunnel in Kenya from their port. And when they had the unveiling, the Kenyans couldn't even read what it said. I found out on X, what was Twitter at that time, the Kenyans was on Twitter going crazy because they couldn't believe that the Chinese made a deal to build a railroad and finish the project, and they couldn't read nothing it said. This is in Kenya. Look, this is a tunnel that the Chinese built in Kenya, and the Kenyans don't know what that say. I rest my case. They was pissed. That's how I found out. Because I'm following everybody on my stuff. I be following information. And the Kenyans was pissed because they couldn't even read what the new project said in their own country. And look, they got the Chinese flag. This in Kenya. So you can go over there if you want to. All these people is bought and paid for. And look, I'm gonna let that go. That's it. I could go on and on and on. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. But I gotta tell y'all the truth. They let them people come over there and dominate their society and basically own them. Kenya. Kenya. I ain't kidding. Ethiopia, you name it. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Ethiopia. Who pimping Ethiopia? Who they sewing for? China. Sweatshops. They don't pay them nothing either. They don't pay them nothing. They work like slaves. They don't get nothing. Kenya. My boy was up on Michigan Avenue and he bought some gloves. That was about 4 winters ago. He bought some gloves. And he said, look, Ram, look at these gloves. And inside it said, made in Ethiopia. So the Chinese is selling gloves, but they're able to trick you because they're able to put made in Ethiopia. They made in Ethiopia, but who owns them? The Chinese. All these ladies work for the Chinese. Long, brutal slavery hours. Listen, and there's Chinese men in there doing whatever to them. Seriously. There are Chinese men in there doing whatever. You see, she got the plastic on her and everything. Why she got all that plastic on? You know how hot it is in there? Why is her face wrapped up like that? See? Don't y'all buy into that go back to Africa stuff. Stay your ass out of Africa. If you ain't no ready to fight, don't you go to Africa. You do better fighting over here. You go to Africa, you're going to be in the middle of a war. Everybody fighting over Africa. Russia, America, China, Britain, French. All fighting over Africa. Don't go over there. If you do go over there, make sure you save some money over here and have an exit plan so you can get the hell out of there. Because it definitely, that ain't, Africa not it. So as far as wanting citizenship in any country in Africa, especially Burkina, I'll pass. Because they ain't got no respect for you over there in Africa. The Asians and the Africans is mad at you. They're not going to let you come over there and get no money. Victory.
We were driving past this place, so this is Cape Coast. Not quite sure what's happened. They've just come and knocked somebody's building down, just like that. It's crazy. So apparently the people who sold the land to him are saying his lease is up, but we all know he hasn't been here for as long as they're saying. They're saying 50 years is up, but we know he hasn't been here for 50 years. And people are here looting it, like looting what they can out of the building. This is so sad and so tragic. And you know, if this person who owns this place has been treated unfairly, then there really is no justice in this country. And that is tragic, and that is really sad, and it just breaks my heart. I'll see if I can. So this guy whose face I'm not going to show, he's saying that he had the guy who owns it had a 50-year lease, and then the MCE, who is a government official in this place, has sold the land and has just turned up and is knocking the building down. There he is, the guy in the checkered blue and red. That's the MCE. Absolute disregard for justice. If this is how authorities act in this country, then we're really in trouble. This is so bad. So bad. All right.
And look, they're trying to steal our roofs and the sidings and stuff.
So what, they just turned up, no notice?
This morning they turned up. I wasn't here early when they turned up.
Right.
Our people were cooking in the kitchen. They turned the electric off, and then they started dismantling the building.
Wow.
They took the grates, that building right there.
Yeah. That one, yeah.
The building right here that's destroyed right here. Yeah. I just heard when I was in Cape that somebody put it on our site that that building was still, I have pictures of that building. It was still up. But they'd taken all the windows out, all the doors off, and the grates, the security grates. That was the only building we had that was secure. That building back there behind the water tanks is the kitchen. So they were preparing food there this morning for the lunch that we do every day. There's a vegan restaurant that people order food from and come and pick it up here. And that's how I found out what was going on.
Oh, man.
I called to order some food. Yeah. And that's when they told me they shut down everything.
Oh my God.
And that
how are you still standing? You're impressive. How are you still standing?
Oh, well, you know, we have to be strong in situations
like my
this.
Gosh.
That's a brand new light pole they turned down right there. That light pole just got put in.
They're gonna pay for all of that, bro.
That new wood, that shit we just got to put in this spot. Yeah. Now they got the scavenger, all these that feed the sharks over here. That's what they in trouble, man.
Yeah, they're gonna pay for all of that. Yeah, they're gonna pay for all of that. Yeah, they're gonna pay for all of that. Yeah. Hey, why are you taking that? Excuse me. Hey, why are you taking this? I got your picture. Who told you to take this? Are you secure? Are you with them? You see them taking this stuff here?
I am from Chicago, Illinois, from the United States of America. And I'm here today on the grounds of that everything that I've worked so hard for, even from America to Nigeria. And as I love this country and I fell in love with this country, I chose to invest here. And as I saw today, before there were gates, as you can see behind us, now, as I come here today, I can see most of my dream and so many of our investments crumbled and shattered. I bought more than 6 plots and I intend to buy more. But how can I trust the fact that the more I invest is not protected because of what's going on here? And what we are appealing today, and me as an American from Chicago, Illinois, I'm speaking directly in the camera. As I'm here appealing to the Honorable, the President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to please come to our assistance. Come to my assistance, because I can't make a reputation back in America as I have for this country. I speak so highly and so freely about Nigeria, and to come in back and invest into this wonderful country. But look at our investment now, over 700 billion down the drain. Please, Mr. President, I ask you for your mercy to come at our assistance in the Nigerian diasporas and all these investors who stand with me today to come and assist us and help us come to a conclusion with this matter. Thank you. Once again, my name is Dr. Kimberly Stark. I am from the United States of America, Chicago, Illinois, and especially to honor our President Tinubu, who also used to reside in Chicago, Illinois. Thank you.